Where did that come from?
Probably Bear Village. How the hell do I know?
About the bear, the gun.
Welcome to a bonus episode in the Lost Journeys. We've covered a lot of character journeys, now I want to cover the journey of a specific prop, the Marshall Sig Sauer P228 gun. It's very similar to the P226 gun, which was also one of Marshall's guns. The P228 has a shorter slide and barrel than the P226, and the form is a little bit different from the Beretta, which was found in the Halliburton case, which also belonged to the Marshall. But the first gun on the show has been on a remarkable journey. I feel like it needed an episode of its own, and it is even part of the Lost bonus featurette, the right to bear arms.
I have no idea where the guns are. I'm not even gonna pretend to know.
Who's got what and who's been carrying what and who's brokered what gun for what.
Guns. Guns on our show.
There's so many close-ups of the gun in the show, and after being manufactured in Switzerland, it becomes the possession of Edward Mars, who points it at Kate in tabula rasa when he apprehends her in Australia. He has it on his body. In an off-screen scene in the pilot, Sawyer finds it on the unconscious Edward Mars and takes it. He brings it up the hill with a group and uses it to kill the polar bear. He spends most of his bullets on it. Then Kate unloaded it.
So worried about me. How about you give me the clip back?
Put your gun back in your pants, Sawyer.
At night, Boone takes the gun, or at least he tries. Kate is given the gun. Then Kate gives it back to Sawyer so he can shoot the Marshall, with the one bullet left. This gun will have a history of either being empty or have one bullet left. Sawyer kept the empty gun in his tent for the next 3.5 weeks. When attacking Ethan, Sawyer was giving a new gun to join the attack. The Marshall's gun, which was empty, was reloaded with ammo from the Halliburton case and then given to Kate. After Ethan was killed, not by this gun though, Kate gave it to Jack, who put it in the case. 2 weeks later, Jack gave the P228 to Sawyer to take on the raft. Sawyer tries to kill the others with it, but is shot. Michael gets the gun and almost empties the entire magazine on the shark with the name Ezra James Sharkington. Then there's only one bullet left. Sawyer has it in the pit. Ana Lucia took it off Sawyer and pointed it at him, Michael and Jin. Now it's Ana Lucia's gun. They trek with the gun through the entire island. Ana Lucia accidentally shoots Shannon with the same gun, the P228. She gives the gun to Jack and he puts it back to the Halliburton case, which has all the Marshall's guns, as in the 4 guns he brought in the case, which includes a Sig Sauer P226, 2 Berettas and a Walter PPK, as well as the Glock 19 gun from the Nigerian plane. It is put into the armory in the Swan. Sawyer performed a long con on the survivors in order to take control of all the guns. He tricked Locke into moving the guns and hiding them. Charlie followed him and took this gun for himself. So now Charlie has the P228 gun. When they trekked to the balloon, Charlie gave it to Saeed.
No, I'm looking at your gun.
A what?
Maybe you should give the gun to somebody who knows how to use it.
Maybe I will. As I recall, the last time you had a gun, you murdered someone.
That's enough.
Then Saeed tries to kill Ben with it in the armory. Ana Lucia stops him and takes the gun. Ana Lucia gave the gun to Jack when he and Kate went to the line and used it to shoot down the net they got caught in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I told you. I grew up hunting with my dad. Damn!
Then, when they came back with Michael, Jack points it at Sawyer to get the guns back. Remember, this is all a situation stemming from Charlie getting a gun for himself after helping Sawyer round up all the weapons. The Marshall's gun being in circulation while Sawyer has all the guns comes back around. Now Sawyer has his precious gun pointed at him. Jack still has it, points it at Desmond in the boat and brought it on the mission across the island in the season 2 finale. He used it to fire at the others. Then the others took the gun from him. It wound up in the hands of Danny Pickett, who carried it around. Pickett points the gun at Alex when she attacks the runway crew, and later he's about to kill Sawyer with it. The gun mostly associated with Sawyer is now going to be used for his execution. Sawyer takes the gun off Pickett and him and Kate escape. He fires it at Pickett and the others several times until he runs out of bullets. And this is a very good continuity work, done by Greg Nations, who keeps track of all the guns. The gun will be out of bullets for the entire season. Sawyer will bring the gun back from Hyder Island, trekking through the whole island with the gun he had since the old days. He will have it on him when he is back on the beach, and do a perimeter sweep when Nick and Paolo are found. And like he says to the group,
They ain't even loaded.
he has it on him when he hunts with Desmond, which is hilarious since he doesn't have any bullets. He desperately needed a good vote in case he got banished. Sawyer points it at Locke. He follows him and hits him at the back of the head. Sawyer points it at the Black Rock brig door, but Locke knows it's not loaded.
If there were any bullets in that gun, why would you hold a knife to my throat?
When they get back, he still has no bullets, and as I explained in my greatest hits video, they only have Danielle's rifle, Desmond's rifle, and the gun that Carl brought with them. As Juliet points out, they don't have any guns, and Sawyer's P228 is useless. He still has it, and brings it back to the beach camp. After the raid, they lay out all the weapons on the kitchen table, and this is where most of the Lostpedia gun information is incomplete. I guess the gun fans of Lost stopped watching the show, so I've tried to look at screen caps and figure out where it all ends up. I believe there is a mistake on the Lostpedia page on the weapons, since in this shot we see that Jin picks up the P228, not Desmond, so Jin has it now. Sawyer no longer has his, since he has switched it with the one he took from Ryan, which he used to kill Tom Friendly, and which is the one he'll bring to the barracks. You can see that this is the P228 and not the Beretta, which Jin used before. So they've loaded up the weapons and take them to the cockpit before returning back to the beach camp. Now that they don't have a gun locker or Sawyer's gun stash or the Halliburton case, so they probably leave the guns someplace on the beach. Not a good idea, because Charlotte will take this gun on their way to the Tempest and then return it to the beach camp. I believe she'll hand it over to Kate. I'll come back to that. Then in the season 4 finale we get a nice and clear shot of Saeed's gun, a Beretta M92F, but Kate's gun is not as clear in this shot, but from freeze framing it looks like it's the Marshall's P228 gun, the one that Charlotte had in the Tempest. So when they got back to the beach, Kate probably took this gun. Both of these will be handed over to the others. Richard doesn't use this gun to shoot Kimi though, so Marshall's P228 will be in the disposal of the others for a long time. 3 years will pass, and then I assumed it was lost forever in the hands of the others, since Lostpedia page for season 5 and 6 is so incomplete, and from here I've tried to carefully study the screenshots, which is hard, so I understand that it's not an easy job, but luckily set photographer Mario Perez has a lot of promotional stills that offer high quality pictures of all the seasons, including a lot from season 6. They've been of much help to me, and has let me zoom in to differentiate whether or not the gun is a P226, P228 or something else. I've also looked at the areas around here to see if they match up with the gun. So I believe that the gun reappears in season 6 when Sawyer steals it from the others. You see the shaft is short and the tip here is reminiscent of a P228 and not a P226, so Sawyer has his old gun back, points it at the man in black.
What's on your mind, James?
Wondering what would happen to you if I put a bullet in your head.
Why don't we find out?
Has it on him for the entire season, even when sailing to Hyder Island. Fun fact, the Glock that came from the Nigerian plane, that Locke carried and then gave to Saeed, it wound up in Sun's hands, and she left it on the sailboat after she shot Colleen. If the others did a terrible job scouring the sailboat, then it would still be there. And lo and behold, Jack is using it on Hyder Island. Did he find it on the sailboat? When Widmore's team approaches them on Hyder Island, Sawyer throws the gun on the sand. The guns are recollected by Widmore's team. They luckily manage to get these weapons back after the monster makes some havoc near the cages. After that, it's really hard to pinpoint which gun is which gun. But it looks like Jack, Kate, Sawyer and Saeed have 6 Sawyers, Glocks and Berettas. So it's almost poetic that Marshall's guns, as well as Scaldy's gun, being introduced from classical scenes in season 1, are all in the possession at the very end of the show with the A-Team. Heck, even Saeed has his Beretta back, because Saeed was the one using the Beretta all the way back in Season 1, when ambushing Ethan. I can imagine that the cast members just have their favorites, the ones they know their characters use, and they simply go in circulation. And just like the Halliburton case, which was fished up from the water, all the guns will end up on the bottom of the ocean, and thus ends the journey of the P228 gun that was introduced in the pilot. So that's the story of the gun that has been on a wild journey from Season 1 through 6. Heck, it even has a journey in the afterlife when Kate steals it from the marshal and takes off with it. Surprisingly, it's been mostly used to point at others and going from one person to the other, since it has only killed the polar bear, Ezra James Sharkington and Shannon, but the owners have been the Marshal, Sawyer, Kate, Jack, Michael, Ana Lucia, Charlie, Saeed, Pickett, Jin, Charlotte, the others and Widmore's team. That's it for this bonus episode. Please subscribe for more island exploration and stay tuned until winter for the 5th season of The Lost Journeys.